Many of our strongest mental images of the past are built on a foundation of pure fiction. We imagine Viking warriors celebrating a victory by drinking from the hollowed-out skulls of their enemies. We picture the American Wild West as a place of total gunfighting freedom, where every traveler carried a weapon and shootouts happened daily. And we assume our earliest ancestors, but the historical record tells a different story that has shattered these beliefs. The Viking skull cups were a linguistic mistake. Famous frontier towns like Tombstone actually enacted strict gun control, and most early humans actually lived in outdoor houses. The reality we navigate daily is often a patchwork of assumptions. To see clearly, we have to understand the specific ways our brains are tricked into believing things that are simply incorrect. The caveman myth is the result of survivorship bias, the error of looking at evidence that survived, while ignoring everything that was destroyed. Ancient people actually built wooden tents and skin huts out in the open, but these materials rotted away in the elements centuries ago. Deep caverns, however, protect whatever is left inside. We found tools and bones in caves because they were perfectly preserved during brief human visits to escape a storm or perform a ritual. Because cave evidence remained, we filled in the blanks by assuming they lived there full time. Language can decay just as easily. In the 1600s, a European writer attempted to translate an ancient Norse poem into Latin. The original Norse text used a poetic riddle, describing heroes drinking from the curved branches of skulls. The translator didn't realize this was a metaphor, and translated the phrase literally. The curved branch of a skull was actually just a riddle for an animal horn. Vikings simply drank their beverages out of the horns of cattle, a common practice at the time that the failed to recognize. When physical evidence rots or cultural context disappears, our instinct is to bridge the gap with a more dramatic story to make sense of the void. The mystery of WebDriver torso is a case study in what happens when we have an abundance of data but no frame of reference to interpret it. In 2013, this YouTube channel began uploading tens of thousands of videos at a speed no human could match. This visual recreation shows the data being broadcast, 11-second clips of red and blue rectangles sliding across a white screen to loud electronic beeps. Without an explanation, the internet filled the data vacuum. Users speculated it was a secret spy network or an alien signal. The panic only subsided when an Italian blogger investigated the network traffic and traced the source directly back to a Google office in Zurich. The reality was mundane. It was an automated testing tool used by Google engineers. They were uploading simple shapes and beeps to measure how the YouTube platform processed video files. The reaction to WebDriver torso highlights a pattern. When we are presented with an unexplained phenomenon and a total lack of context, we often default to assuming there is a hidden, sinister intent behind the data. Sometimes our assumptions are challenged by data that directly contradicts the rules we've written for nature. Computational biologists recently found a massive gap when mapping modern human DNA. This phylogenetic tree shows the data. Up to 19% of some modern genetic ancestry traces to a ghost hominin that interbred with our ancestors 124,000 years ago. But despite this genetic signature, there is absolutely zero physical fossil evidence of this species anywhere on Earth. We are also seeing the biological concept of life and death being challenged. A new third state of existence has been proposed that suggests the binary definition of alive or dead is no longer sufficient. Scientists took skin cells from a dead frog embryo and watched as they spontaneously reorganized into new, functional xenobots. These microscopic structures navigate their environment despite the original organism being dead. These cases suggest that sometimes our assumptions are proven wrong because the frameworks we use to categorize life and history are simply incomplete. Our universe is a chaotic environment filled with translation errors, digital noise, and logic-breaking biology. Realizing that our historical models or scientific rules are incorrect shouldn't be discouraging. It means we are finally looking closely enough to see where our initial guesses missed the mark. In research, the most powerful moment is rarely the claim of a final answer. Progress usually begins with the simple realization that something doesn't make sense. Accepting that our baseline assumptions were flawed provides a clearer path toward discovering how the world actually works.